Michelle and Michael. This is Liz Dawes, and I wanted to put together this video for you because I think it'll be a lot easier for me to explain everything. We can also set up a Zoom and I can explain everything for you. Since this is a foreclosure situation, I wanted to make sure that you have as much information as possible. This is going to be a challenging sale, and I want to make sure that you guys have the best expertise possible because there's really zero room for error here, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I wanted to show you is the report has 13 pages. I'm just going to glance through them very quickly. We have some price suggestions. I have not seen the property, so it's very important that we note that this information is based only on the quantitative data that I mentioned to you, and therefore it's incomplete without a physical property walkthrough by a knowledgeable expert. That would be me with 34 years experience dealing with these types of condo sales, especially probate, foreclosures, and things like that. Now, county records may have inaccurate, incomplete information, and so if you do want to know exactly what you would have in your pocket after a sale, then the first thing that we would need to do is to gain access to the property, physically do an inspection, and then we could be a lot more accurate. So these numbers, again, this is just best case scenario, and we're comparing it also to the online valuators such as Redfin, Zillow, TruliaRealtor.com. Those are the top four. As you can see, those numbers here are ranging between 151 to 190. So based on that, our advertising price range would be between 150 and 199,990. We always want to be right under the next cutoff because most people are going to go, they're not going to go online and say put 216, or they're going to cut it off right at 200. So we want to make sure that we don't lose that 30% of people that would just not be over 200,000. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next page. You'll see some information about the home. And again, I share this with you just in case it's incorrect, and we will physically make sure that this is accurate once I step on the property. And then mortgage records, what it shows so far. And I also downloaded some information from the list pendants, the foreclosure notice that was filed already. And then this is where we're going to get into a little bit more detailed. And you'll see these. I did not just one comparative market analysis, but I did several because we need to look at the sold properties, the active, the expired properties, and then I want to look into each of the properties and explain why we are selecting to stay under the $200,000 mark. Okay, then you also have Broward County Public Records, and this is where we're pulling some of the information regarding the size of the property and things like that. And then you'll see attached here, I don't know if you received a copy or if you've seen a copy, but I wanted you to know, you mentioned that Michelle is the only heir, yet the bank has named a lot of people. So, definitely I think that this would need to be looked at by an attorney that can help you. And I think that's really, really important. So we can talk a little bit more about that and why. But these are things that, again, I believe are very critical in your situation. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the recent sales. And very, very few in the last 5 years. I had to go back 5 years in order to be able to get anything. Nothing in 2022, nothing in 2023. And so in the hot market that we've had, that is very unusual. And part of that is I can see that there's a high rental rate in there. They're probably just, keeping these long leases based on the fees. Also for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, I see that it's under the county standard of, it being over 2,000. Most of these rentals are under 2,000. So that's also a window into what is happening in the community in reference to maintenance and upkeeping. And when there's a high rental rate in a community, the properties tend to be a little bit more run down, and it's just the transient effect, as well as people that are not owners, so they're not so in they don't care as much about the properties and keeping them in good shape. So that also has an impact in the value of the properties. And so with what we're looking at, 4 properties that have sold in the last 5 years, and almost always, at least in recent years, they have been on the market for an extended period of time. Again, way longer than the average in our area for a condo with the low HOA fee. But a low HOA fee can be a sign of not enough maintenance being done to the property. So this is something that I know that Crossbriar has suffered from in the past, and we can take a look at that physically when I visit the property. So as you can see here, the highest sale is at $145,000, and that was after being on the market for over 200 days. That is an extremely long period of time, and I want you to look at the property itself. They only had a few photos, but it was an end unit, which is most desirable in these buildings, and it does have an exterior patio, and they only showed photos of the exterior. So but in here it says beautiful townhome in a great neighborhood, bright and light, convenient layout, and rented to the long-term tenant. It was also during COVID, so they may not have had showings, and that was closed in September of 2021. The next one in 2020 sold for $132,000. It was $5,000 under asking. This was the first year of COVID, and the sales this year went through the roof. But still, in Crossbriar, this was in the market for $119,000. And again, for a 2-bedroom at that low price, it just doesn't happen. Another thing that is very important is to note is that this was updated with new flooring, new stainless steel appliances, new cabinetry. It's not super high end, meaning it doesn't have the stone countertops or things like that, but people were looking for clean units like this that had been updated, and at this price, it's baffling why this one would stay on the market so long. This one also had a really nice view of the canal, and so overall, just very favorable. New vanities, all new flooring, laminate flooring, which is very popular, neutral colors. So this would have been a dream home for someone, looking to move and own their own property. Almost no properties at this price point have their own washer and dryer. This one had a washer and dryer. So as you can see, it's a beautiful unit. A lot of positives: the corner unit, the water view, the washer and dryer in the unit upgraded, and everything else. And it was closed at $132,000. And so when we take a look at what this property may sell for today, it's very tricky, because although it says $249, that would be in Broward County. But in Crossbriar, there's almost like the twilight zone in there, and it has a lot to do with insurance, maintenance, and the condition of the property. So the other two, 124, it's way back in 2019, so we're not going to look at those, even though you're free to take a look at that information. The report that I've put together for you has all of it in there. And let's go back. I wanted to just point out a few more things to you as you look at the report. Okay, so again, my suggestion would be that the maximum advertising price stays below $199,990, or at or below. And remember, we have to do a walkthrough to really nail down what's happening. And then the week right before we go active, after we've done the media blitz and we've done all the marketing and the copy and all of that, we would take a look again at what has sold, what is on the market, what's happening with that other one unit that's been for sale. We're going to talk about that one and why it has not sold. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that in more detail. So here we have, just as a summary, last 5 years, these are the sold properties, and in red, I noted this long days on market, with the highest priced here being at $145,000. That was unit 122, and that was in September of 2021. It was on the market for over 210 days. Very, very long and unusual in Broward County's condo market of that price. Okay, now what's active currently, there's only one, and it has been on the market for over 2 years. And this is exactly what I want you guys to avoid. So please, 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 if you have, some agents will say anything to get the listing. They'll tell you that they can sell it for $1 million. But you have to be careful, look at the facts and be wise. This property, it was originally listed at 250 and at 235, and almost immediately, under an ill-advised decision, they raised the price to 250, and it has sat on the market for 2 years. Okay, that is not good. I'm sure everybody that goes into this unit says, what is wrong? And they're looking for what is wrong. They're not looking at it as being, wow, this is such a compelling value, I have to snatch it right real fast. And then there was another property that expired after being on the market for over 6 months, and that one was also priced at over 200,000. And so clearly buyers, investors, they have all said these properties are not worth this price. So I believe that when I look at the reality of what they are selling for, and then when we walk through, I'm going to be on the conservative side based on your situation, and I'm going to say that if you need a fast sale, if you need a sure sale that is not going to cost you a lot of money, then, because obviously more taxes, more HOAs, more mortgage fees, right? So I think that selling it quickly is something that is important to you based on what you shared with me during our conversation yesterday. So then you're going to see again the details of these properties that did sell at $145,000, the next one at $132,000, right? So these are the real sales. This one is the one that expired after 6 months. They had it listed at over 200,000, and everybody said absolutely not. And then this one, 2 years, right? And they're at 250, and the market is saying no, even though it has a washer and dryer, even though it has this, and this, I'm not going to pay $250,000 for this unit. And so there's the public records, and then there is the list pendants. This is basically the public notice stating that a foreclosure procedure has started, and this is one of the reasons why I'm going to say it's very critical that we connect you with an able professional so that they can give you the right legal advice that you need in order to handle this, especially from out of state. So there it is. Now, the great news is that this is something that we are very adept at doing. We have done it many, many times, and we're going to be able to handle this sale for you, no problem. We would talk a little bit about what would be the next step as soon as you are ready. So please reach back. I will also follow up with you early on Tuesday, or you can reach out to me tomorrow. I will not be going anywhere, just having a relaxing day at the office, quiet, and but Happy New Year. I hope that this was very helpful for you and very insightful, and there's more to do. There's lots and lots and more to do as far as the strategy to sell a property that's already being shown in public records as a foreclosure. So give me a call and we can discuss the rest of that strategy. Thanks again, and this is Liz Dawes. I look forward to speaking with you soon.